Have you ever passed by someone who was poor, ragged, dirty, or uneducated, and felt, even for a moment, that they were somehow beneath you? That you were different, better, or luckier? Maybe it was just a fleeting thought, a quiet judgment. But in the realm of karma, nothing is ever just a fleeting thought. That subtle sense of superiority, the silent act of looking down on another, is already a seed. A karmic imprint, small but real. And like all seeds, if nurtured by the right conditions, it will one day bear fruit, perhaps placing you in the very position you once judged. The story of the Buddha and the beggar you're about to hear is not just a moral tale. It is a mirror. It reflects the part of us that forgets how fragile fortune is, how easily the roles in life can reverse, and how dangerous it is to carry the illusion of being better than someone else. If you've ever thought, I didn't do anything wrong, I live decently, I'm better than people like that, then this story will challenge you. And maybe, if you listen deeply, it will change the way you see karma, humility, and the future you are unconsciously creating right now in every thought and glance. The Buddha and the Beggar. Karma awakens when you judge others. The story, the Buddha and the Beggar. One quiet morning, the Buddha and his disciples were walking through a village on their alms round. People lined the streets with reverence. Some offered rice, some bowed in silence, hands pressed together. But at the edge of the road, a frail, filthy beggar lay curled on the grass. His clothes were torn, his body thin and trembling, and a foul odor hung around him. Passers-by covered their noses and hurried past. No one looked at him. No one stopped. Among the crowd was a wealthy young man, dressed in fine clothes, accompanying his father to make offerings to the Buddha. When he saw the Buddha pause beside the beggar, a flicker of disapproval crossed his face. He leaned toward his father and whispered, "What a shame that such an enlightened one would waste attention on someone like that." The Buddha said nothing at first. He simply gazed at the beggar for a long moment, then gently knelt down and placed his own bowl of food into the man's trembling hands. The beggar opened his eyes, tears welling within them, and managed a faint smile. Then the Buddha turned to the young man, not with anger, but with the calm stillness of a forest breeze. In countless lifetimes, the Buddha said, those who once ruled as kings have fallen to become beggars, and those who are despised today may one day rise to wisdom. Your position in this life does not define your true worth, but how you treat those weaker than you. That is what defines your karma for lifetimes to come. The Buddha then revealed that the beggar, in a past life, had been a wealthy merchant, but his greed, arrogance, and lack of compassion had created deep karmic debts. He had refused to give, looked down on the poor, and never opened his heart. Now, in this life, he was reaping the consequences of that mindset. And the young man, though blessed with wealth and status in this life, was in danger of planting the same karmic seeds through his silent contempt. If left unchecked, these seeds would bloom into future lifetimes of suffering and humiliation. Something shifted in the young man. He lowered his gaze, quietly approached the beggar, and offered his own food with both hands. That was the first time he realized, the poor are not to be pitied, much less despised. They are living out karmic chapters we ourselves may one day walk, if we do not wake up now. The lesson on karma and contempt. Contempt is a form of karma, and a powerful one. Many people see looking down on others as just a passing emotion or a natural human reaction. But according to the Buddha's teachings, every thought we allow to arise becomes a karmic seed planted in the mind. When we feel superior to others, even silently, without saying a word, we are already creating karma. Contempt is a subtle form of arrogance, and the karma that arises from arrogance often ripens into painful experiences, being looked down upon, being humiliated, abandoned, or falling into hardship so deep that others turn away. These results may not appear in this lifetime, but they will come unless we transform that inner attitude. Poverty and suffering do not mean someone is worse than us. We often judge people by how they look, how they speak, or what they possess. But the Buddha taught that everything we see in someone's life is the fruit of past karma. That doesn't mean the poor are bad or the wealthy are good. Some people are suffering today because of a single moment of ignorance in a past life. That beggar on the street could have once been a teacher, a protector, even apparent to us in a previous existence. So the thought, I am better than them, is not just wrong, it is spiritually dangerous. The most dangerous karma, believing you are above others. In Buddhist psychology, there are 8 types of arrogance. One of the most dangerous is over-arrogance, when even someone struggling or morally flawed believes they are still better than others. This kind of pride is subtle, hard to detect. It may appear as, at least I'm more moral, or at least I try to be kind, or I'm not like them. The Buddha once said, the truly noble person is the one who remains humble, who does not look down on anyone, no matter how lowly their situation may seem. True spiritual practice isn't shown through words, rituals, or appearances. It's revealed through a mind free from comparison, a heart that does not place itself above others. Only this kind of mind can dissolve old karma and avoid creating new suffering. How to transform the mind that looks down on others. Looking down on others is not simply a personal flaw. It is a karmic habit, deeply ingrained from countless lifetimes where we judged, compared, and divided the world into right and wrong, better and worse. It hides in the smallest of thoughts, a passing glance at the homeless, a mocking comment about someone's failure, or a subtle pride in being more spiritual, more aware, more disciplined. So transforming this mindset isn't just about effort or logic. It requires wisdom, humility, and compassion. Here are 3 powerful practices to begin this transformation. Practice 1. Contemplate karma. See others through the lens of past and future lives. Whenever you encounter someone struggling, unkempt, rude, or lost, pause and silently ask yourself, what if they were my mother or father in a past life? Would I still look down on them? What if I were to be in their situation in my next life? What karma am I planting now that could make that true? In the eyes of the awakened, no one is truly above or below. There are only beings paying off karmic debts, and those who are about to. A Buddha can kneel beside a dying beggar not out of pity, but because he sees the absolute equality of all beings caught in the wheel of samsara. That person once stood where we stand, and we, too, may stand where they are, if our mind remains unawakened. Practice 2. Examine the ego. Why do you need to feel superior? Contempt doesn't always come from malice. Sometimes, it comes from fear of being unworthy, of being no one. We unconsciously use others' suffering to feel safe, valuable, or better. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and ask, what do I feel when I see someone fail? When I meet someone who's poor, messy, or backward, what stirs inside me? Have I ever felt relieved that someone else was worse off, because it meant I wasn't the lowest? These questions pierce deep. They reveal that the ego doesn't need to be great. It just needs to be greater than someone else. But true inner strength doesn't come from comparison. It comes from knowing yourself completely, and no longer needing others to be less so you can feel more. Practice 3. Practice loving kindness, not to save others, but to save yourself from arrogance. The next time you see someone who triggers your judgment or discomfort, pause and silently offer them a simple wish. I don't know your story, but I wish you peace. You may have once been me, and I may one day be you. I send you a little light today, even if you never know it came from me. Loving kindness is not condescension. It's a spiritual reminder that every being carries the seed of enlightenment. Even the addict, the liar, the beggar, they all hold the Buddha nature. One day, they too will awaken. And if you want to live as someone truly compassionate, you must begin not with those who are easy to love, but with those who are not. Transforming the mind of judgment isn't about appearing noble to others. It's about liberating yourself from the trap of ego, comparison, and karmic repetition. Because every time you look down on someone, you fall deeper into the illusion of superiority and forget that you've been in their shoes before and could be again. So next time you see someone less than, remember, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to compassion, the other to more karma. Choose wisely. Inspirational closing, from darkness to light. The world often teaches us that strength lies in power, success, or status. That the more we have, the more we are. But the light of the Buddha's teachings shows us something far more profound. The true measure of a person is not found in their rank or possessions, but in how they treat those who are weaker. poorer, or overlooked. Every time we look down on someone, even silently, we plant a seed. And that seed, if left unexamined, will ripen in ways we may never expect. We may find ourselves one day humiliated, abandoned, or suffering in silence, wondering why the world has turned away from us. In truth, it may be the silent echo of how we once turned away from others. But here is the most beautiful truth. We are not prisoners of our past. We can choose again, right here, right now. Each time you choose not to judge, you free yourself a little more. Each time you see someone suffering and silently offer them compassion, you soften the karma of lifetimes. Each time you bow, not out of inferiority, but from reverence for life itself, you step out of the darkness of pride and into the light of awakening. Yes, the world will always have rich and poor, high and low, clean and unclean. But the truly strong are those who no longer need to look down on anyone to feel worthy. If there is one deep teaching from the story of the Buddha and the beggar, it may be this: live in such a way that no matter your outer condition, you carry within a heart of humility, a mind free from judgment, and eyes that see others not with superiority, but with compassion. That is the light that can carry you across the endless ocean of samsara. That is the path of a bodhisattva, quiet, steady, and radiant in the midst of a noisy world. Life often makes us forget that everyone is walking through their own chapter of karma. But if today, you choose not to look down on anyone, not even in thought, you have already planted a seed of light. Walk through this life with eyes of understanding and a heart of compassion. You don't need to be better than others, just better than who you were yesterday. And perhaps, through that quiet humility, you'll begin to transform the karma that has followed you for lifetimes.